Now a leper came to Jesus, begging him, and kneeling, he said to him, "If you choose, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, and he said to him, "I do choose. Be made clean." And immediately the leprosy left him, and he was made clean. And after sternly warning him, he sent him away at once, saying to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses has commanded as a testimony to them." But the man went out and began to proclaim it freely, and to spread the word, so that Jesus could no longer go into a town openly, but stayed out in the countryside, and people came to him from every quarter. The Gospel of the Lord. The great Irish playwright and social commentator George Bernard Shaw once had a statement that most of us are familiar with because Robert Kennedy adopted it as the guideline of his presidential campaign. Some people see things that are and ask why, and I dream things that never were and ask why not. And I raise that for you today because over the last few weeks, there is this sense that what we see in Jesus, something fitting into Shaw's statement there, that we see a world in a particular way and we wonder why it is, and yet Jesus comes and dreams a new world and dares to ask why it couldn't be true. Because that first week, we see the first week is like the beginning of Jesus' ministry. And at the beginning of Jesus' ministry, he comes to one of the neighboring towns. He comes to Capernaum, and he goes to the synagogue, and he starts teaching. And the demons call him out. And whatever it is that he's saying, the demons know who this guy is, and they know what he's about, and they call him out in the midst of it. And so he casts out this demon, probably more than anything, to shush him. And so he casts him out, and everybody, look at that. And then the next week, which we heard last week, the next story that we hear is that then he goes for lunch at Peter's house, and they hear that Peter's brother-in-law has a fever, and he takes her by the hand, and he raises her up. And she does the only thing that anybody is able to do after being raised. She begins to serve the people around her. It's an image as to what it means to be raised. And people are bringing more people to him, and he's healing people, and he's casting out demons. It kind of makes sense that per capita, Capernaum must be the most demon-ridden town in the whole world. Everywhere he goes, casting out demons, casting out demons, casting out demons. That's what the story says, casting out demons. And he leaves, right? Because it's as if Jesus is getting this sense of who he is and what he's saying, that what he's saying can't be contained in one town. So he goes, and he goes out. And as he's going out, he runs into this man in today's story, this man with this skin disease. This disease that puts him outside of the town, outside of the community. He can't go shopping, he can't go to church, he can't do anything. He's outside of everything. And the response is interesting. Because as he's going out, he runs into this man, that as you read the text underneath what the words are saying that you hear, there's this sense like, ah. Jesus kind of goes, ah. It's kind of like he's saying, I can't go anywhere and not run in to the powers of evil. Everywhere I go, there it is. That's kind of what, that the words kind of indicate like his bowels are rumbling inside of him as he runs into this man. It's everywhere. Power, evil, And in the point of the story is not to argue whether or not leprosy comes because of evil or because it's some sort of biological disease. That's not the point, because he said, it's as if he's saying that the sense of human brokenness can be found, and everywhere he goes it can be found. There it is. There it is. And Jesus is having this dream of a new world. This dream of a new world. And what it can look like. And what it can be. And this man says to him, if you want, you can heal me. And he says, I want. And he heals him. But then we get the sense that there's something deeper going on. There's something deeper in this story than just this man getting his healing, this man getting his skin cleaned up, this man who can now go back home. It's deeper than that, because Jesus says a strange thing to him. Don't tell anybody. Go, give your offerings, but don't tell anybody, which means immediately the guy goes and tells everybody. But why on earth would Jesus say, don't tell anybody? Is it, he already has a crowd problem. Is it because of crowd? Or is it because of something that is so much deeper? He says to him, go make your offerings, show yourselves to the priest, go back home. The goal of the healing is to send the man back to his community. The goal isn't for Jesus' fame to get larger. The goal is to live into this dream. Evil has been beaten back in the life of this man. Now, he's not just to go and say, hey, look what I got. But to say, I'm back. I've come back to live. I've come back to be God's person. I've come back to live out the dream that Jesus has of what the world could be, where evil and the boundaries of evil are pushed back. And it's pushed back enough to make room for another man to come back into the community and live his life. It's not about the healing itself. It's about the power that it gives to him to live his life and to come back home and to be a new person. You see? It has nothing to do with the fact that he got something that other people would say, but I didn't get that. You see, so what are we doing in a place like this? I mean, it feels sometimes as if we're coming and we want something, give me something, and I get something, and then I go back out. And if you get what you want, you say, well, look what God did to me. And if you didn't, no, I didn't get what I wanted. But isn't it about something bigger? Isn't our very purpose here to become a living embodiment of this dream that Jesus has? This dream of a different kind of world. Of a dream of a new life, of a dream of a new way of being. And what we're chasing after here. You know, why do we collect things for our neighbors who are hungry? Why do we send things to Ecuador and for China? Is it so that we can pat ourselves on the back and say, aren't we just swell people? Haven't we just done nice things? Look at what, in that sense, we become this man who's healed of leprosy. Look at one of the wonderful things that have happened to us because of that. Or is it because we have this vision of what the world can be? And by being present in the lives of people who are in prison, being present in the lives of people who are hungry, being present in the lives of children who have nothing, isn't that an extension of the dream of what Jesus is talking about here? That we come so those people can live and dream a new dream and see the world in the way that God through Jesus begins to see it, to open up the world, to push back the boundaries of evil, the places where we're given the courage to see it. You see, it's as if he says to us as well, don't tell anybody, just go out and live. You live. And more immediately, you don't just live in the food bank, or in Ecuador, or in China, or in prisons, or any of those sorts of nice things. You live. You hope. And you live down here. We go live. And carry this dream that life is something bigger than what we made it into being. And we carry this dream that there are possibilities that we didn't think were possible until we ran into that person that we see today. That we see somehow God is doing and making and shaping something new, and God is doing it through us. Through us. As it extends out of the life of this place into the places that we go. Oh Lord, could you make us clean? It does. It does. Clean so that we can see His dream. Clean so we can see the world in a new way. Clean so that we can imagine the very things that Jesus is imagining in these stories and as He runs into these people. Clean so that we can leave this place and extend that dream into the world in which we find ourselves this week. Oh, that we could leave this place with the dream of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Carry that back to our home, back to our need, back to the places that we experience life, and know that God pushes back boundaries that sometimes we didn't even understand. Pushes back at the things that are indeed bound up with evil, and makes a new world. And He invites us to be the ones who see that world for